What's up, guys? I'm Scarra here from theScore eSports here with Crumbz, current analyst on the NA LCS desk. He was here for World Finals. Crumbz, how's it like being in the stadium, being on the desk for Summer Split Finals?
It was a teary-eyed experience, to be honest, being in the Canadian Stadium, because while I've never been to Toronto, the fact that this stadium resembles so much of the Rogers Arena in Vancouver, which is one that I've been to a couple of times for hockey games, it has such an incredible feeling, just reminding me of the hockey games that I've been to that are just so energetic, and the fact that the crowd was so hyphy about it, and a lot of them were huge fans of myself, which was a great surprise to me. I kept walking around and be like, "The Prophet, who are you? I love you." And that was, I didn't expect to ever get to that point. So I'm really, really happy for it.
As the first Canadian event, do you expect there to be more in the future from Riot?
I hope so, because they could easily just take it as, okay, how good of a success was this? The games were great. The fans were great. The stadium was great. Nobody had any complaints so far. So why not, right?
Talk to me a little bit about the game. So it went 3-1 into TSM's favor at the finals. Is that what you expected?
It was a really hard one to figure it out. I was talking to as many people as possible. How do you think it's going to go? And everybody was just, it's back and forth. The scrim results don't matter, but they do this, they do that. I thought initially it could be even 3-0 TSM, but as I kept doing more research, okay, it's going to be a lot closer than that. I thought it would be a 3-2 C9, and that's usually like the more close, riskier kind of prediction that you can make. Obviously, a really safe one is always, oh, it's a 3-1, right? That's a really easy one. Mark copped out with the 3-1 because he wanted to do 3-0, but I thought that it would go to 5 games, and honestly, it should have from that 4th game. I mean, even TSM was really disappointed with how they played that one out. I'm sure C9 was even more. But overall, it's just a really exciting series. Like, I find myself really excited and animated for what's happening, and the only time that ever happened before was in the really troll fest games like Echo Fox Dignitas, like Spring Split, that kind of shit, like just a complete fiesta. So it was a lot of fun.
Did you get that kind of enthusiasm also watching the 3rd place match that went to full 5 games?
Oh yeah, absolutely. That 3rd place match was just as wild. Like, they just would not back off. You know how when you tell somebody, "Hey, want to farm?" It's like, okay, we'll farm. They did the opposite. Hey, want to fight the entire game for no reason with no macro play whatsoever? Yes, yeah, okay. So it was a lot of fun.
Speaking of which, do you feel like the best teams ended up winning this weekend?
Yeah, no, I do think so, because I think Immortals has a lot of internal things that they have to get going. Like, it's so obvious that they need to fix what's happening behind them. When you have players being vocal about the really apparent mistakes that the team is doing that aren't getting fixed, that's a problem. And TSM, they didn't play their best, but they were the better team. And I do think that when both of them will play to that best level, they should be better. Although that patch, the fact that it's standard lanes just makes everything so much harder for everybody. You have to think the entire time. You have to, from level 1, it's about, am I getting cheesed? Am I getting cheesed at level 2, level 3? And when you're watching the game, okay, what's the jungle route, right? It's a lane swap. That doesn't mean anything. Just, okay, 10 minutes in, just tune in at 10 minutes. You know what's going on. So it's a lot more tiring for everybody, and just the teams that have the resilience are able to come through. And that's why a team like CLG was so tired afterwards. It's not lane stops, right?
You've been on the analyst desk the entire split. This is the first time Riot's ever had an analyst desk, kind of a consistent guest analyst desk week after week. How's it been for you?
It's a lot of, it's weird because I don't play that much anymore, obviously, and I find myself looking to learn about the game through a almost purely visual and just talking about it and thinking about it as opposed to the execution and learning that way. So you know how people have different ways of learning, like all the senses and whatnot, and I feel like one of my senses of learning, which is a hands-on experience, is missing. So I have to find a way to kind of reinvent myself in the way that I learn things and look at things and kind of memorize patterns and think about the game on a lot more individual level, because I mean, I don't spend the entire day of my every week with Mark and Dash, right? I have to kind of speculate on the game, talk to other people, and figure out how the game is evolving, what other aspect of the game might change for the next week. And that's a lot tougher than being in a gaming house where you see it every day. You know exactly what to expect. So it's been a little bit tough keeping up with what's been going on with the meta, but honestly, because we have such little time to talk in the analyst desk, I find myself that there's just so many things that I cannot talk about that it's like, all right, here's one point. And then it looks like we just have that tiny little bit of knowledge about what's going on, and we don't know shit about what's actually happening, but you just don't have the time, or it's not even worth explaining and going into that much detail for why such a small play mattered that much.
But what about on the enjoyment level? Like, are you happy
Oh,
doing this? Is this great for you?
Yeah. Oh yeah. So my best comparison for it, it's like being a food critic, right? So you eat it all, you take everything, and the food is the game, right? The game that the players are showing, and then you just tie it and you spit it out. You're like, it was shit. It should have been cooked this way. Bring it back, and you don't have to do anything. They just bring it back, and you just keep doing it over and over. You complain that it should have been done better, but you don't have to do it, and that's awesome, right? I love that. I mean, I'd love to be a food critic too for anybody out there, but it's a lot of fun, and I find myself way happier. And people are like, "Oh, what have you been doing? You're so happy all of a sudden, right? You seem like with a more radiant." And I think that's just because I have more free time to do things that I'd like to do. You know, like even something like reading or walking. Just walking. The first time I moved out of the gaming house, I just spent 2 weeks walking, just going out and just enjoying moving. Because 5 years in the gaming house is not fun.
Then, because you're so happy doing this, it seems like it's great for you. What's your future look like? Are you going to be looking to next split to go back to the analyst desk? And as well as that, is there anything else in the future for you that you're doing on the side?
So because it is a kind of a freelance position, and I'm currently not really considering going back to playing unless everything else fails, I wouldn't go back to playing. But the things that I have in mind are trying to make sure that my role as a part of the broadcast can be applied to other aspects. As a freelancer, I have the ability to move into other aspects of that job, right? The random games, whatever it is, and even things like content creation or doing random interviews or helping sites, websites, whatever they may need. And I'm currently looking to expand myself into all those things. And it's just a matter of taking the opportunities that come along and exploiting those. But for the most part, I just want to really make sure that I can put out the best product that I can right now, because as I currently have a bit of the spotlight being on the analyst desk, I got to use that time to make sure that I'm putting my best face forward for whatever chapter comes next.
All right, fair enough. Do you have any final words to say to your fans out there? Anyone that may be old or even new who just watched you for the World Finals for the first time?
Actually, I got words to say to you. Thank you for having this interview. And, I've been spending a lot of time, like, learning and looking back at old times, and yeah, thank you. I just thank you for being you, I guess.
Well,
no, I'm serious.
Well, thank you very much, Crumbz. I mean, I'm Scar here with Crumbz, ex-jungler, ex-LCS player, ex-coach, ex-analyst, or current analyst. He's done it all, current content creator. You can find more content online from theScore or on our mobile app. Thank you guys. I hope you guys have a nice day.